Preciosa hermana, gracias por eso. Bienvenidos espectadores a vernos hoy a nuestro juego de Afterlife Wandering Souls. For those of you who didn't understand that, I guess get better at other languages. But in actuality, thank you for being here, everybody. Welcome to the premiere session of Afterlife Hotel Nexus. We are here on Girls Run These Worlds to tell a story that is a little bit more along the heavy emotional path and intensity. This is, for those of you who are not familiar with the system, one that grapples a lot with death, mortality, heavy existentialist themes, and for the most part is a very careful reevaluation of people's lives who have all died in some capacity. So there's going to be a lot of content warnings before we even get into anything regarding that. And we, as a cast, are actively going to be checking in with one another to ensure one another's well being. But before I do the full set of content warnings, you need to know who the wonderful people who are going to be making up this cast for the next couple of months are. So I'm going to go around and just do a little lead in for everyone. I'm going to start with our newest member who's fantastic and has a debut in streaming. It's going to be Gina. Go.
Hi, I'm Gina. She, her. Hi.
That's it. That's literally it. If you could give your character's name and their pronouns as well, that would be
Ooh,
most wonderful.
I am playing Antonia Leyland. She, her also.
Fantastic. You pass it over to the Lunar Wonder herself, our own Diana.
Hello, everybody. I go by Diana Moon online. I use she, her pronouns. You can find me on Twitter at Diana Moon and Twitch and YouTube at xDianaMoonX. I've done this a million times. That's why I have the spiel ready to go. I am playing Captain Jimena Ictaca Castillo, Siren of the Jewel Coast, and they use she, they pronouns.
Wonderful. The art, the wonder, the hair of the gods. Alta Mirage, you're up.
Hi, I'm Ultramirage, Ultramirage, I don't care. They, them. I'll be playing Ophir, who is he, they. I am an artist, so if you ever want to look up my art, my commissions are open. I will draw your characters. It's great. You can find me anywhere as Ultramirage.
And you said you were playing. Did you say who you
Ophir.
were playing? Ophir.
Yes.
Fantastic. He, they
Ophir,
pronouns.
he, they.
Wonderful. To the incomparable, the wonderful, the divine, DK.
That's so nice. Hi, hello. I am DK or at Abadarlings on Twitter, and today I will be noted explorer Quest Nightingale. I am she, they, and so is Quest.
Fantastic. And of course, our production wizard are very nicely dressed in a tie that I'm sure she knows how to tie very well. Ida.
Instructions unclear. I'm eating Carl. Hi everyone, I am Aida. My pronouns are she and her. I am a multitasking demon. I am a Latine woman based in Europe. I am very excited to be here. I am excited to be torn apart with full consent and trust. I am playing Ren, whose pronouns are they, them, and they have delusions about who they are. And that's, you know what? It's going to be a totally happy, peaceful, nothing wrong is going to happen to them journey. The boringest arc, no development.
In all seriousness, thank you everybody for introducing yourselves. And for those of you who don't know me, my name is Angela Lemos Morvejo. I use she, her pronouns, and I'm going to be your GM for this series. So, as I said before, this is a series that, as cheeky as we are being with a lot of the potential content we'll be dealing with, there is a very high level of intensity to this game. Folks, in terms of mechanics, for their players, will literally be going through flashbacks to memories that their characters have lost. And so there's a lot of content warnings related to death, very toxic, abusive relationships, body debilitation, and also just the anxieties that come with living disabled lives and such, and a lot of the stresses that those bring for us. There are any number of things just related to memory decay and also just pretty much borderline traumatic memories and such, because players have access to a mechanic where if they fail a roll, they can choose to instead willingly go through a flashback to a terrible memory for no mechanical benefit other than to ensure just that the roll does not cause any issues for everyone else. There is a lot here that I want to stress is very difficult, but I feel confident in the cast that we have here that we can tell the story in a way that is engaging and allows us to delve into these rather difficult topics without simply performing misery for all of you. Because I don't think you would enjoy that, and I certainly would not enjoy my cast feeling like they have to perform that either. But all those content warnings out of the way, let us officially. Been so excited, everybody, for this. I've hidden the level of excitement I have for this, but welcome to session 1 of Afterlife Hotel Nexus. Check-in. It's light out, at least as far as you can tell for looking out of the car that you're currently being driven in. You look out into the landscape and you see there's trees passing you by, and then you look again and there's valleys cresting deep down, seemingly forever into the earth. But you look again and there's towering mountains. At one point they look like the Colorado Rockies. At another point you look and you see the high peaks of the Andes Mountains. There's a quaintness and a silence that fills the air. And then turn to a voice speaking. Hey, hon. Hey, hon. You plan to wake up anytime soon? Mirage. Please describe a few things for me. Number 1, what does your character look like? Let's start with that. Who awakens, and in what car do they awaken? How have they been sleeping in this car? Is it a taxi? Is it a cab? What is it?
Ophir is kind of a scrawny mess, dressed in decently nice clothes that are a bit messy. There's a few paint splotches here and there. Hair just a disaster, not necessarily because it's unkempt, it's just how they are. And freckles just covering whatever parts of them you can see. They are curled up in not quite a fetal position, but trying to just contain as much warmth as possible in the back of a regular ass taxi. Even though they're dressed relatively decently, there's something in them that just instinctively recognizes this as a temporary safe space. And so they're just curled up.
Now, I would like to ask you, Mirage, would you like me to describe the NPC that you see, or rather that Ophir sees, or would you like to give some details on them first and I fill in the rest? I leave that choice up to you.
I think the most comforting thing for Ophir at this point would just be any kind of regular taxi driver. He doesn't want anything that stands out. He just wants, not that he necessarily wants anything, but the most comforting thing to him would be nothing, really, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm. I know exactly who to pick for you in that case. You see, sort of just looking over taxi into the driver's seat, very nondescript, let's go with a woman, bit light brown skin, kind of pale. Looks like she's probably been driving for a long time. It looks like this might be like a long shift she's been in the middle of, and it strikes you maybe a little odd that you can't tell. This is definitely a taxi, but seems like someone who maybe has been like an Uber driver or like just been doing a lot of driving jobs for a while. Kind of has blonde, almost faintest orangey brown tinge to the hair. Kind of has a hat on that's keeping most of it down, but you see even just from the side of the face, someone who probably like middle age and definitely like you see her turn around and she has the most kind of like kind but hardened expression on her face. It's someone who gives off a strong vibe of like sees the kids at like coming out of like a daycare center and just smiles. The next minute she sees a dude who tries to like hit on her and she has the face of like, I'm about to break your teeth in 2 seconds. So
Hey,
odd
Mirage, I'm
contrast.
in love.
You're welcome. Out of curiosity, Ophir, what music do you hear playing on the radio right now?
I think it's probably Moonlight Sonata.
It's very quiet and tranquil, and you see her turn around. Looks like you're awake, huh?
I suppose I am.
You hungry? You thirsty? You need anything? Got a couple of sandwiches I just keep for the trip over, and I think I have soda, I have Gatorade, if that's the kind of thing you want. I don't know. I don't know what sort
He
of stuff.
immediately sits up at the mention of food. Uh, yeah, that would be great. Um, if that's okay.
Are you a pro or a nay on salami in your sandwiches?
Anything.
Okay, why don't I give you like the heaviest one, the biggest, most heavy one that I got. I've been trying to lay off meat for a little bit for my own well-being, but Han, you look like I could like push you over with a breath. Enjoy. And passes over like good like 6-inch like sub that's
Mm-hmm.
just been like stuck in the glove compartment. It's like this looks like the kind of thing that someone's wrapped up, and there's even like a rubber band that's keeping it like tied
Mm-hmm.
together. But it's like here, napkin for you, dear. And do you care on the type of drink? Do you just want me to take that decision out of your hand? I'm asking.
He doesn't initially answer because he's kind of staring down at the sandwich with like a growing look of suspicion. And then he just looks over. What do you want from me?
Hon, I don't want anything from you. I'm just your driver. If you want, I can give you a name. I don't have to give you a name if you don't want to be chatty. It's just a matter of I'm just here to take you to the hotel.
He kind of flinches at that and sits back, kind of thinking. I think he just settles into silence as he slowly unwraps the sandwich and starts to eat.
Before you, if you're curious about any of that, no, you don't have to pay me back. No, this cab does not cost you anything. And you're welcome to ask me anything. I can't promise the answers I give you are going to be great or enjoyable, but you're welcome to ask.
He just nods a little bit, keeps eating. And then, after about being 3/4 done with the sandwich and downing an entire Gatorade, uh, he'll just sort of, hmm, so who are you,
I'm Alba.
Alba?
Yeah, I'm pretty much the person who takes folks in your situation to the hotel. I'm usually the folks who pick them up. I'm usually among the people who picks them up. Pretty much just me. used to have friends and other people who were involved, but this is my jurisdiction, at least as Jean Paul wants me to do.
In my situation, so I really am. And he kind of just like looks out the window at that.
Yeah, lovely. I hate to break it to you, but if the word you're looking for is dead, yeah, that's where you're at right now.
They're silent for a solid like minute or two before he kind of just slumps back in the seat. I think this is kind of a relief, honestly. Thank you for your kindness.
Nothing's needed. This is my part of the job. I get the easier part. Jean Paul gets the harder part.
Is that the introduction to hell or something?
Oh, sweetheart, you really think you're going to hell?
He just shrugs.
Look, I did get a chance to look at a bit of what happened beforehand. And look, if everyone who went to hell was a liar or a thief out of everyone who had lied and stolen out of necessity after a certain point was going to hell, there'd be a hell of a lot more people there.
I just don't even remember.
Yeah, dying will do that. It'll be a little bit till we get there, but you're welcome to any sort of conversation I can provide for you. If you don't want that and you just want to enjoy some food for a bit, I can offer that as well.
He just nods a little bit after a moment and sinks into his seat before slowly reaching out for more food and not talking.
It's a quiet ride for the most part, and you see eventually you pull up to the opening area of, it's strange, it seems somewhere between massive mansion, cabin lodge. So it seems like there's a main hotel, there's a carriage house over on the side. It looks like there's like stained glass windows on the outside of it, but the coloration has these sort of very almost coming off of the walls, bright like yellows and oranges and kinds of blues. There's a very neo-Andean sort of architectural approach to it. And there is this sense of there's a lot of activity, but no one's around somehow at the same time. And you, depending on how observant a person you are, you happen to clock that pretty much everything on the ground, as far as hedges, flower decorations, and such, seems to have a very like serpentine kind of appearance to it. But the little lights that are hanging to sort of light the way into the main foyer, to the main entry area into the hotel, it looks like there's little sconces and such that are shaped like eagles.
Nice.
You're here. There'll be both some other company joining you shortly, and I'm sure Jean-Paul will want to have a conversation with you soon. He's the hotel manager here.
He kind of just grimaces at the hotel, not because he dislikes how any of it looks, but just instinctively, especially every time the hotel is mentioned. And they kind of just look back and are like, are you sure this isn't hell?
Let me put it to you this way. You could end up there. Or you could go in the other direction. I'm not the one who's going to decide that. I'm not the judge here. All that's going to come down to you.
I think he's just going to go slump down and sit on the stairs, not quite go in yet.
I have to take a trip around, pull out, and go get a few more other people, but I can leave you with a bit more snacks. I got some more water. I think I got sweets somewhere in the back if you want any of that. I'm not partial to them myself, but I think I have like a cherry tart somewhere back there. I think it's still good if I remember correctly. I'm not entirely sure when's the last time I looked at it.
They look incredibly suspicious, but also like as soon as they said sweets, you saw Ophir's head just like pop up. I don't think I have anything to give, but
Hun, this ain't about what you got to give. It's about what I'm offering. And it's not a trade. You have to do equivalent exchange. I already like you enough. That's more than enough reason to want to give you some level of kindness. It doesn't look like you've had a lot of it.
I'll take the cherry tart.
Good. I like to see someone who likes to eat. I like to feed people. It's a good feeling. You're gonna have that experience a lot while you're here too. Be sure this is just me being partial. The tamales made with the banana leaves are better. That's just a personal opinion. You might enjoy that. Aida in the corner is just like, no, we don't do that here. but it's just you just see her. She's like, that's just me saying that. Don't tell the cooks. Diana in the chat. I like to see people eat every Latinx mom and grandma ever. It is yes, pretty much every mom who likes to cook some degree of like, you should eat more. It's like, I've already eaten 3 servings. I know you should eat more. But
consider I just did another serving in front of you, so
leaves you be with it's like a cute little box, and you see it looks as though it's come from like a bakery, but the outside decoration just looks like it has a rowboat, and it has a rowboat, and there's a figure cloaked. Hello, cat. That would be an advantage for somebody's role later on. Just letting people know ahead of time. We work off of Cat Vantage at my table. But you sit there, you have a suite. It's a box that, again, symbol is a rowboat with an individual who seems to be paddling on it, cloaked. And you see her pull away, and sort of the last image as she's going away in the taxi cab, you see her wave back. Then you see her entire visage changes to being extremely skeletal, and then just sort of carries on.
He just shudders at that and then looks down at the sweets in the box and just kind of stares for a while.
As you're looking down at the sweets there, we sort of have the like camera zoom in, doing the thing where like it does a closer up shot of the tart, and then the redness of it bleeds out into the whole of like the camera lens, and then you see there's like a drink being had. It looks as though it's probably like fruit punch, like Gatorade or something, but it's got like a weird label on it that says fuel filled with additional electrolytes and for ideal peak performances and such. Like it looks like something someone has bought from like a specialty store of some kind. And Quest, what's this car you're being driven in? Who are you? Like, what do you look like? And who's the person who's driving you?
It is the most god awful Jeep known to man. At least 10 years past its prime. No windows. Pretty much everything that I own or really use piled up in the back. Um, I know it's not him, but the driver just looks so much like Cypress. Um, it's strange. They don't feel the same, but they look just like my best friend. We seem to be headed somewhere. I'm not entirely sure where. I am young-ish, early 30s, dark skin, long dark braids that are kind of piled up on top of my head out of the way so that I can see. Dressed in very warm clothing. Not quite a down outfit, but a very, very heavy kind of parka coat with a big hood. I have a leather jacket balled up that's been under my head. Gray eyes. And big dimples, generally kind of a sunny disposition about me.
Now, terrible Jeep, the sunniest person possible, sitting in the back, waking up to two things. Number one, what song is currently playing as you're waking up?
September by Earth, Wind, and Fire. It's my mom's favorite.
I love this. I'm already gonna love this so much. I guess the part of a sudden you remember, and then you look like your eyes like fully open up, and again, it's Cypress who's there, and pronouns Cypress, he, they, she,
See him.
he, him. I'm gonna say, I don't think you gave me much more of a description for that, so. Let me put it this way. Do you want I'm trying to remember the actor's name who played Anansi in American Gods. But do you want Anansi or do you want Lance Jones? Yeah. Do you want him or do you want Lance Reddick from John Wick? You get a choice.
Lance Reddick from John Wick, absolutely.
Yes, he also seems to be dressed in nearly as nice a driving outfit, despite being in this shitty ass Jeep. Is like seems to be putting together, but this is a man who like the sleeves are a bit down just to make it easier. Very, very defined. This is someone who works out, or at least has been around, and okay, and there's an air of like very careful. It's kind of practice professionalism, you can tell, but it seems like now that you're awake, sort of like, well, how's it going there?
Well, it looks beautiful out. I suppose it could be a lot worse.
It is quite beautiful out around here, if I'm being entirely honest. It's one of my favorite things about taking folks along this path is just sort of letting them get to see a lot of what nature gives people. Gives them
I don't normally fall asleep in the car. I I don't know, maybe I spaced out or something. Where are we headed?
oh, we're heading to a hotel, huh?
Right. Hotel.
Yeah. Gotta get you all situated, gotta get you all comfortable and all that. You looking for a drink of some kind? I got a little bit of snacks. I have some nice bits I got some nice bit of snacks that some of the staff at the hotel left me with. Not something I grew up trying very often, but it's the kind of thing that you might enjoy.
Sure, that sounds lovely. Would you maybe have something warm to drink?
Yeah, hold on. Let me see. Like, is in the middle and like pulls out like a whole equivalent of like would be a thing to put like an ice pack and a whole bunch of other shit in, but it looks like it's more like a lunch bag. And like passes it over and let me make sure I have the right description for this. It's like, God damn. So genuine question. Are you fond of or opposed to dairy? Is that a thing that your stomach handles well? If it doesn't, I can pull out something else.
The two things are not mutually exclusive. I am fond of it. My stomach is opposed to it, and I am willing to take a calculated risk.
Okay. That is what I like to hear from somebody. So I'm gonna give you a mix of these couple of things. So, are you more in alternative I can offer you is I can offer you a sort of fruit punch that's been like stewed and cooked on the stovetop for several hours. I can offer that to you as well.
You know what? When in Rome, yeah. Let's try that.
All right. So it passes you over like a full like thermos that's full of Mexican ponche. So it's a kind of fruit punch that's served around the holidays. It's literally it's like multiple types of fruit, huge as we're not talking like bits of cinnamon that's put in. We're talking full cinnamon like sticks that are like as big as your head being in there. And it's the kind of thing my dad used to make at our home, like getting around Christmas time. It's warm, it's sweet, it's refreshing, it's good. It's just that exact kind of thing.
Thank you.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, you gotta enjoy yourself. It's a lot to get used to after you come back from that sort of thing.
There's kind of a crease that forms in the center of her forehead, like she's reaching for something and sort of struggling to get her hands on it mentally. Oh. Oh. This isn't just any hotel, is it?
Well, unfortunately, no.
I'm dead. I died.
Putting it succinctly, if you'd like to be direct about it, I was about to ask you whether you want me to do the kind and comforting kind of way of approaching it, or you want to be direct and blunt. Seems like you've chosen the latter course.
Well, no, of course I'm dead. Of course I am. Did he make it?
You did. Or maybe it
Well,
didn't.
all
I
right
don't
then.
know. I couldn't tell you for certain, but last I heard, I haven't picked up anybody else.
Well, all right then.
Is he important to you?
Most important. Well, should have been. Second most important.
Well, I'm sure whatever stories you got to work through, that'll be fun to share with the other folks who are gonna be here real soon with you. Again, just here, there's a lot of wind going by for you, but there's sort of you're getting close to the hotel, and again, this time now you're hearing the proper term for the version I hear is they're called zampoñas, but the English translation for it would be best like sort of panpipe kind of like stuff that's just playing. It looks like there's a few folks who are like celebrating outside. You see some folks who are in the middle of like doing some sort of performing and dancing a bit, and then also you see that there's like a bunch of different instruments that are out. There's this one that looks like it's about the size of roughly like a ukulele, but it looks like the back of it's an armadillo shell of some kind. and it's just music playing, and it's like, well, you're here. You're welcome to ask me something else before I finish dropping you off. I don't feel like I've actually done proper and doing the whole taking you over, making you feel cozy, comfortable, all that kind of thing. I feel like I haven't done it quite justice.
Sorry, my line of work, you kind of make your peace with it early on, so it's, I think, less of a surprise for people like me than it is for most. I just, I don't know how much you can tell me. I know I was doing something important, but I don't know if I did it or not.
Well, you're here, so either you really did it or you really didn't do it. Is my way of thinking about it. Either way, however important it is for you to remember, I'm sure you'll figure it out in time if you're willing to make the effort to do so.
I'd like to know for sure.
It's a spirit. Like you. Okay, you have one of what's that term? Starts with a G. Gumption, gumption. That's what it is. That's the term I was looking for. Gumption.
Funny you should mention. Gumption's actually where I'm from. It's where I come from.
Very nice. Very nice. You are already a beacon of sweetness, and sooner or later you're going to be taking over my job with how comforting you've been.
You are far too kind, and thank you very much for the ride. I can't imagine what kind of walk it would have been.
Oh, trust me. Walking in it, you probably wouldn't have lasted very long in the walk-in. Most folks kind of get swept away by the landscape if they're not carried over with good attention.
I mean, it is a whole lot to take in. I can see how. Still, though,
That's one way of looking at it.
guess it's good to keep all my limbs inside of the car, so to speak. So,
It's
thanks for the
generally
safety
good
net.
policy. You ever seen a dog that just like tries to hang his head out? Well, you know what ends up happening to half of the dogs, and like everyone gets all excited, they're cute, they're doing a little like tongue waggle kind of thing. They're just hanging out. You know what ends up happening to have them dogs? Bug
Nothing
right in the
good.
mouth. Yeah,
Yeah,
nothing good, but also bug right in the mouth. Not the kind of thing you want to deal with in the middle of your drive.
high speed traffic, especially if you got a big dog, something like a Great Dane. You can't have it.
You can't have it. You can't have it at all. Hey, Rover, like struggling to whistle and just like pulls out an actual whistle, and you just see like great big ass Great Dane, the kind of dog size where it still thinks it's a puppy while still being roughly the size of you. Just
Oh, hello. Hello. Oh, is it okay if I pet? Oh, you shake? Absolutely delighted. Just lit up. It's very nice to meet you, Rover.
just has a very it thinks it's a small lick, but because it's a big dog, it's just like
Half my face.
half the face. And it's like this dog was playing like just roaming around and just like letting its tongue like loll out and everything. So they're also like big. It has big mokoso kind of like face where it's just like so you're like I should be upset by this, but also dog, therefore cannot be.
And she will just ear scritches is just absolutely delighted to see this giant creature that thinks that he is big enough to fit in one seat in the back seat of this Jeep.
Well, you're gonna have some other folk here who are with you soon. Dropped off another poor fellow who looks like he hadn't eaten about, I don't know, ever. Might want to have a good conversation with them. See if they're doing okay.
There's food inside, right? I mean, it's a hotel.
Oh yeah, there's plenty of food. We should be having like I don't know if festivities is the right word, but we got a huge spread planned for at least this evening. It's free on everybody's first night. getting all situated. But I imagine Jean-Paul will probably be wanting to talk with each of you in turn first. He's kind of the more unpleasant end of this business. I'm the sweet part. He's a little bit of the sour part.
Well, I imagine this realm of things usually includes a little bit of both.
You have a good perspective. Now take you far here.
I hope so. And I'll see what I can do. I think the least I can do is pay forward the kindness.
I think a lot of people enjoy that. I think a lot of people have enjoyed that. Sort of says that like very passingly, but you have this like weird gnawing at the back of your head, like, did I do something? It's just like sticking in there. Nothing to attach it to. It just feels very familiar. And yeah, why not? I did this in another game. Why don't we go with this? Is about to leave and says, and now you take care of yourself, sweet pea. All right?
I'll do my best.
Rover. And jumps into the back seat. Big doggo. And is like, no, just like petting him. Now, don't you be trying to like knock my steering wheel out of my hands, or this ain't gonna end well for both of us. You know how long it takes us to come back here. Like, oof. And just looks over at you.
Bye, Rover.
Oof. Boy. Barks. It sounds like they're saying bye. So move on from that moment, wind going by, and it goes to like full like Celia Cruz music is playing. There's just like stuff just like going on through the radio. But Ren, where are you waking up? What is the vehicle choice for Ren, and what does Ren look like?
Imagine like the heft and bulk of an 80s kind of car. Big old 80s American car. The interior is a mishmash of different parts. One seat is taken from a Nissan, the other seat is taken from a Benz. The steering wheel has a sticker with a typo of Mercedes-Benz. Instead of the Benz logos, it's an extra line, so it's actually the peace symbol, but not the Benz. There's stickers of saints and other Christian deities plastered over the mirror. And Ren, who's in the back seat, tries to present as a sort of dapper individual. Clean shirt. Looks to have been ironed at one point. The tie is a bit sloppy, but the tie looks to have been ironed at one point. The jacket with pockets falling out, with pamphlets falling out, crumpled at their side. Hair very neat, slicked back with a lot of paraphernalia. A sort of salt and pepper. Believes themselves to be like regal, put together, magnanimous.
Okay. You have, let's see, who did I end up picking for you? Yeah, I chose you that one. Oh no, wait, no, sorry, that's Diana's. Diana gets that lesbian. I'll pick you the other lesbian. Things I can only say in TTRPGs. This is one of my favorite things. You have it's like big energy from this person. Looks like someone who it has very much like a dancer's build. Has huge hair, like the done up one. I'm gonna go with like my grandmother's hair, which was like much bigger than her actual like headspace, done up sort of like in a bun, but it's like clear, like a lot of you tell just even by the side, a lot of energy. Someone arms very well defined, very strong, very capable. Person is just like slowly like flipping through. You hear a couple of different things. Like, ah, no hay que llorar, no hay que llorar. No, no, no. And you see it like turning. It's like, no, 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 no. Brillar siempre. No, no. Brillará. No, no. It's just like finally gives up, and there's just a whole bunch of other things, but like finally turns it to a station and settles on it. But Ren, what do you hear playing coming out of it?
Imagine, for the rest of the audience, the sound of a ukulele, but maybe not as high pitched, much more vibrance to it. And this sort of like, and the instrument is called a charango. It's an Andean instrument. And the way this instrument gets played, it's almost like the instrument itself is crying. And there's just this like wail of like heartbreak and passion and love from this small guitar like instrument coming from the radio, coming from this charango. And there's in the background of that song, there's a small percussion, there's people clapping, you hear stamping foot, and it's a sort of love song, an anthem to one's nation, of pride, of honor, of joy.
¿Ya está despertado, hermosa? ¿Ya?
Maestrito, chauffeur, keep it on that station.
Buenísima, buenísima. Lo voy a hacer, lo voy a hacer. No, no te preocupes, no te preocupes. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. You are looking a little bit worse for wear. Now, did you imbibe several times or multiple times? Which vibe should I say we're getting here for this drive?
That only meant that there were that many more successes and joys to celebrate.
Very nice, very nice. Out of curiosity, how you gonna remember all them joys if you're constantly unable to recall them? It's a little bit difficult to kind of relish all of that if you can't remember all of them, huh?
Life is full of joys. They're going to keep coming. It's okay if we don't keep necessarily track of each individual one, so to say, because we're just going to get filled and we're going to be a ball of happiness. That's how things should be. Should relish. You live only once. You make the best of it, and you find the shine, you find the sun, you find the light in the darkness, and you make it your own. You go out as bright as you can. And sometimes things burn a little bright, and sometimes they catch a little fire over there, but that's a really good story for later.
Sounds like it's more of a story for now. It's something about a fire burning out. Speaking of going out, hun, you realize where you're at?
Klinkar, I'm so sorry if you were introduced to me before. I'm so sorry. I think you're part of my group. You look amazing. You're going to do so well. And if you ever need any opportunities, you talk to me. I will introduce you to the right people, and you are going to be on your path. I believe in you.
Respectfully, I'm doing pretty well as far as opportunities go, though I do appreciate the opportunity to have someone as well established as yourself and as amazing. Your reputation very much precedes you. And there has not been someone who has done so much to uphold those sorts of things that people don't treat as important anymore. And you see also, like, having turned around, the person, deep, like, brown skin, like, very much, like, heavy, like, Quechua and, like, Aymara, like altiplanos, like, kind of features, so very indigenous sort of features, especially from Bolivia. And you also see that they have every other Bolivian has is they have the widow's peak element in the hair, because even with a bun, you just see right across the scalp line, big prominent widow's peak, just sort of looking at you.
Well, I mean,
Very nice.
if you're here with me, you know who I am. We're going to a preste. We're going to a festival. And you and I are going to put on a spectacular show.
Well, there's definitely a show happening right now, but
I promise
not-
you, I will ensure that tonight's joy will be my focus joy, and it's going to be the best show you've ever done. I have beat my world record of performances, so this will be a celebration of that.
Preciosa. Si te puedo parar por un minuto, if I can stop you there, just right there. ¿Quieres algo de tomar? O comer?
A brindis,
Just a little bit to
a
eat?
toast. Yes, yes. Well, maybe you keep yours in your cheek because you are driving, but just a little bit won't hurt.
Right. That's it's more that I have a bunch of different things here I can offer if you'd like. I keep a little bag on the side just for like snacks and stuff, just to make sure folks who I'm taking it to the hotel
I'm going
are
to recommend you to all my associates. Like, amazing consideration. Good for you. You're up and coming. I'm so proud.
definitely coming up from somewhere. That's definitely a way of putting it. Hun, I normally this is the part where I gotta be like gracious and everything to folks, but I also have to ask, do you realize really where you're at?
What's out the windows, by the way?
Again, you're seeing a lot of the bahías, the valleys, and the peaks of the Andes. You're seeing the kind of thing that would be present in a kind of like mountain village view, like a spot in Bolivia called Coroico. You'd be seeing stuff that's like from view of like the rainforest there and like the Yungas. You're seeing a lot of that as you're driving by.
This festival's really out there.
Well, it's a hotel, not a festival.
Okay, we have rented out hotels in the past. Amazing amenities, amazing good sound systems.
Definitely. We actually have some live performers typically who are in rotation here.
Okay, I can't wait for the party tonight. It's going to be amazing.
There's a moment of like her looking in the rear view mirror, and probably Ren catches a look of like, oh, you sweet thing, you sweet bean, you really aren't getting this. Like, hermane, my dearest sibling in life, or rather, unlife. You're not
What?
going to a festival. Hun, preciosa, you're dead.
Oh. But we're going dancing, so this is heaven.
Not exactly.
I am not too versed in the Diablada, in the Devil's Dance, but I can acclimate.
You're not going there either. That's not where you're at.
Are you God?
Gonna let my character break just for a moment to say, somebody please quick clip that statement, that very simple question of someone just going, "Are you God?" in a very tiny voice. So replies, "Well, I'm not your God. It might be somebody's god. But I'm mostly just in charge of getting you to the hotel.
Okay. If you know people, you know that for the last 30 years, I've dedicated all my dances to the Virgin, to Mary, and last week's was All Saints procession, and
Hermane, you gotta let it sink in. You're dead. The folks probably that you knew, if you remember any of them, there's no favors you can call on here.
no, that can't be right. I've known people, I've supported people. The religious ones, some really good folk, they have to have a good word in for me, and then we're going to go to the big preste, the big festival in the sky. And we'll dance for all eternity.
Let me put it to you this way, and I'm trying to be gentle about it. This is a rough one for a lot of folks to really get through. Name some of them.
I think mechanically Ren can't name any of them.
No, you don't know any of them. You don't know any of their names. You don't remember. Like, you have the trace of a feeling of them, and you have no names.
There was that guy. The one with the papers. No. There was that lady with the...
Sort of just turning the wheel and like turning into the sort of like parking area in front of the hotel. I hate to break it to you this harsh, but it is part of my job. Most of the time it's just making this comfortable for you as best I can, but it's part of the thing you have to know before you get here. You are dead.
Okay. Things don't last forever, can't... Okay? But what do you mean hotel? People don't live at hotels. They temporarily check in. What do they do after checkout?
Depends how they've been judged.
Give me about who's going to judge me. Why do they get to decide? I know I lived a good life. I made important impacts. I did good things for good people.
Okay,
do I get to defend myself?
Ren, name them.
This is going to be a tough stay, Maestrita.
It is. You will have some company soon. Or rather, there's a few folks who have already picked up. Who'll be waiting here to be attended to by Jean-Paul. He is the hotel manager. He is the person who manages our humble abode here.
Okay. Thank you for the ride. I mean, yeah. How often you do this? Like every day? What's time? Do you do this like, are you doing this now 5 times over?
I'm kind of everywhere I need to be. And when you look back, you see that the road has just stretching out into the valles. And far off in the mountains, you see there's just roads, very thin, winding, dangerous roads, but roads filled with cars. And as a brief aside for both Quest and Ophir to notice, you see the version of Cypress there again. You see the very sweet woman. You all always see the person who's most comfortable for you to see, and just sort of does a wave. Just wait here. Jean Paul will attend to you soon enough.
Okay. And I meant what I said. I mean, you said it's a good game. There's a good sound system there. You and I can have a dance. Make joy, find joy. That makes everything a little better.
I wish you luck in finding your own joy.
I'll take it. You got. I'll take a drink, whatever you. The strongest thing you have. Got some Singani.
There is a you do happen to see like someone does come by dressed in a very like nice professional outfit. It does offer you like a bottle of the stuff.
Singani is like the Andean version of cognac. It's clear. It's usually grape based.
You may have as much of it as you would like. You see the person just say that, and then you turn back, and the person is gone. Like the most you see is someone already walking back into the hotel.
I'd say salute. I'd say cheers, but I don't know what to cheers to now.
On that note, move over. Yes. Here.
Sorry. I just want to quickly say, because I realize not everybody is familiar with my coping mechanism of laughing at everything. If I'm laughing, I'm not laughing at you. I don't find like pain hilarious. This is how I deal with shit. So please don't take it personal if I am just like cracking up in the middle of stuff. Like, I just wanted to say that real quick. Please carry on.
It's appreciated. That's helpful context for both the cast and our viewers to know that, so that they're also processing it. This is very much a medium where we're playing back and forth with them as well. But as far as like feeling the presence of something else, we go back to another car. Or at least, is it a car? I don't know. Gina, what is Antonio riding in? What are they finding themselves being taken to the hotel in?
It is a car. It's a very, very old car, actually. It's a Tin Lizzie. Yeah, that's what it's called, a Ford Model T. This is like 1910s. It's not exactly the correct one, but it's like if you've seen Downton Abbey, the kind of like really big boxy car, like think that kind of era. I don't know off the top of my head if that's a Tin Lizzie, but like that
Good
era
comparison point.
yeah. That kind of era of vehicle. I guess there might still be called vehicles at that point. Who knows? I don't. But one of those things. I like to imagine a dark color. Maybe it's dark blue, maybe it's black, maybe it's dark green. Maybe it's not bright enough to tell. I don't know. But yeah, Antonia is, there is a back seat, so she is in the back seat of that.
As far as what she looks like, what does she look like?
She is actually dressed kind of plainly. She has a like the most fashionable that a sort of like pragmatic outfit can be. She has a little like scarf kerchief. She has tied very in a like kind of cute knot. It's not a bow, but it's a knot, almost kind of decorative. I'm going to say all the wrong fabrics and everybody's going to be mad at me, but like some very comfortable but pragmatic. Very a button shirt, a nice kerchief on top of that, and she has a long sort of like straight line skirt with little sensible booties that you can't really see here. Um, she has a lot of hair though, and it is sort of like pinned up and wrapped, and she has like a little net. You can't really see that there's a net, but there's like a net, an undecorated net that's keeping it all in the back and together there. I think she smells of sea salt, and which is very important. She smells of sea salt. She has a bit of like sun damage across the like the middle of her face. It kind of looks as if she is used to like pulling the kerchief or some sort of scarf like over her nose, and there's just like a line. It's like sun damage up here, and then not really sun damage down there at the bottom. Um, yeah, I think I'll leave it at there.
Who now? Two things to follow that. Number one, what music is Antonia hearing in the car? Even if it, for
Yes.
whatever reason, doesn't make sense for really be hearing music in the car. What is she hearing?
I think she's hearing, it's gonna hard take, but it's going to be the Italian aria from Gluck's Orpheus and Eurydice. What would I do without Eurydice? I'm not gonna say it in Italian. I can't speak Italian. But yes, it is Gluck's aria for Orpheus and Eurydice toward the end of an opera. Very high. I think it's a soprano nowadays, but like in a soprano Italian kind of sad opera sort of thing, aria. There was a second question. I can't remember.
Yes, I was about. No, I haven't said the second
Okay.
question yet. So, do you have a sense of what this driver looks like, or would you like me to fill in the details?
I would think somebody, a woman, first of all, a woman driving the car. I think she would find kind of comforting. Somebody who is also very unassuming. Yeah, that's all I got. I realize that's all I got.
No, that's perfectly fine. You do see someone who has a look of deeply tanned skin, like someone who's been out at sea for a very long time. Hair that's been pulled back. It's black, but it looks like it started to go. It like you're getting some patches of like gray in it. So it's someone who started to just like get the gray hair coming in. I know because I already have gray hair coming in. It's kind of neat, but also stress. And someone who you have this very strong sense takes what they do very seriously. And you see her saying, "Hey, dear. Good morning."
Morning? Is it morning?
Well, usually it's more a turn of phrase at this point for where we're at, but I imagine you might be a little on edge about where you're at right now.
How did you try? It's not. How did It's not really a road up to the.
It's part of my duty. It's part of my job to make sure you're okay.
She sort of just looks around and somewhere else. That's good. That's good. Oh,
Are you hungry? Do you need anything to drink?
no, I think.
I can offer a sweet if you're more inclined for something excessive at the moment.
think that'd be good. I think that'd be good. Yeah, and she'll take that. She's just sort of relieved that she is in a different location at this point. And she'll take whatever she's being offered.
Yes. I will note it is a coconut rice cake.
Ooh,
I believe the pronunciation is bibingka.
nice.
It's,
Nice.
It's you will see many more like Filipino dishes being referenced throughout this entire series as part of the spread, as well as dishes that I think everyone in the cast will enjoy. So you're welcome. That's why I did an hour and a half of food prep, everybody, for this explicit purpose. But yeah, it's I in the chat lechon, please.
Also Filipino
whole-
dish.
That's,
whole
you know what, you're fair. You do see her also. She has like more like a tall Tupperware. I have tamarind soup as well if you're more interested in that. If you have more of a sour taste.
I don't think it's a good idea to eat soup in a vehicle.
Fair enough. The road can be a little bit bumpy, but I figured I'd offer.
I think I'll take it for later.
I like the way you think. You got to plot ahead, think ahead. I'm Alba, and I just want you to note that at least until when you get to the hotel, no harm's gonna come to you. Okay, I've got you.
Okay. It's I don't think I've realized I was worrying about that.
Most folks, especially a lot of women who I get, they wake up somewhere they don't realize with a stranger. It doesn't matter who they are. It's gonna put them a little on edge, and I just try and reassure people right off the bat that it's not anywhere near something that terrible.
That's good. That's good. Never been in a car before. It's very exciting. Seen them.
I I do. I'm used to days before I used to take a boat, or usually a little bit smaller and such. It's a little more cozy and quaint, but I decided to start branching out a little bit whenever I'd be bringing folks over.
Sure, it's good for a change of scenery. You can't really row over land.
No, you really can't. I've tried. Trust me, it doesn't work out.
So, like, where do we go, or is this just how it is?
Well, it's not endless, if that's what you're asking. You're not going to have to be stuck with me forever, I promise. I'm not always the most sociable of people, and I don't always know how to do the whole communication thing.
Same. I feel like I'm out of practice. I used to be good at it, but not lately.
I understand. You start taking folks one every so often, and a lot of folks, they kind of panic whenever they see me. There's a lot of things sort of sink in over time at different rates for people. You have some folks who are just sort of like, they're a little sad, but it hits them. You have some folks who are just kind of surprised that I'm offering them food. You have some folks who think that I'm taking them somewhere to party, and they realize it's not quite that pleasant. And then some folks who really didn't think they were ever going to get out of where they were.
I suppose that one's me.
I'm not always the biggest fan of subtlety. Subtlety is a tool a writer uses when they don't have a spine.
I'm not sure I agree, but
It's something a friend of mine used to say. He's he's a bit of a loud one, but he and on occasion he likes to pitch a fit about different things, but he's not entirely wrong on that one. Sometimes you don't want to go with the subtle route.
It's true.
You don't want to be coy with folks, especially when they're, in your situation.
It's true. She just sort of looks out the landscape as it goes past, and she's just, is the sea nearby?
To an extent, you'll definitely be near some water constantly, though I don't know how comforting it'll be when you arrive at the hotel.
Okay. I think I'd like to see other places once in a while.
Well, you will definitely get the chance to do that. Promise you that one. But it might not all be enjoyable to go to.
It'll be different.
Difference good. Difference a start.
Good place to start, yes. She's just sort of nervously. She really is just not used to talking to anybody, and lots of sighing and lots of not really looking and just waiting. She's used to waiting.
Alba doesn't push you for conversation. She gives you a lot of space to broach if you want to ask her anything, but if you choose not to, the rest of the trip, there's silence there, but it's not one that's like awkward. Should we fill the space? Because people feel like you're supposed to talk. Otherwise,
Yeah.
silence occurs and it's weird. It's just my best way I can describe it, it's couples parallel activity silence,
Yeah.
where folks are just sort of in their own zones and doing their own thing and not talking to one another, but very clear it's like I'm happy. I'm not upset or I'm not mad. There's no resentment. I'm just here sharing a space with you. And eventually you arrive there. Well, you usually stop. You have a few other folks waiting here, and I got one more to pick up. So I got all of you together.
Thank you. Do I have to go in immediately, or can I just stand here for a couple minutes?
Jean Paul will come and get you soon enough, but he's the manager for the hotel. He has a knack for knowing when he's needed in a given moment.
That's good.
And you don't got to worry about that part, though. I have to ask, hon, just to make sure, just making sure I'm doing my job. You do know what's happened to you, right?
I do. Thank you for clarifying. People don't always make sure I know what's going on.
There is, in contrast to like a lot of the other ones, I think it's just the quiet, the like certainty of that statement. There's just like the faintest shake and resolve for Alba. Because I think that's a response she hasn't gotten in a long time. Well, I'll be seeing you around, dear. Hopefully this will be as pleasant next time I see you.
Hopefully. Bye. I hope the
Thank you.
well, I don't know what to hope at this point.
You treat yourself well, Antonia.
You as well.
And there's a calm in demeanor and such as Alba pulls away, and now we get into our last member of the crew, where in contrast, a little bit in contrast to everyone else, there's like there is a strong like edge of like there's like Chicano rock just playing like on the radio at first. There's like a bunch of like inverted like cross symbols just hanging as decorations in the car, and also a person who initially looks like they're what every goth who tried to find stuff at Hot Topic looks like. That's the initial look of them. But as we move into this car, what car are we moving into as Jimena? Who do we see in the back seat? How are they sleeping? And what's the car?
Well, it's not exactly a car. It's one of those coaches that I've always seen in movies in New York where like it's winter and you sit in it to like it's a horse-drawn carriage type, but it's the open type. So you're like covered under the blankets type. But it's in the shape of a boat. So it's not even just a regular type. And the person sitting that's driving this horse-drawn carriage I like to use pop media reference. If you know Dyson from Lost Girl, he was the werewolf cop. So definitely wearing all leather, very gruff looking, but has a very kind smile. And I'm currently distracted by really pretty kitty. So cute. And
just looked up what he looks like. That is a feral ass looking man.
Yes.
That's a fine, even I'll admit, not my type, but also that is a fine feral ass looking man.
Yeah. Could easily go like growl, but also just go like all soft, like just like a dog, like any mean looking dog can be a cute puppy when wanting. Um, and and Captain Jimena is wearing something similar to what I'm wearing, a very typical pirates kind of outfit, with a little bit of a pirate hat going on here. This one's a tiny size, but they have the proper size one. Yeah, see, I my sense of space always twists me in cameras. I'm like, which is my left and right? And they look like they're sitting upright, asleep. And they kind of look like they're whole, like if they had it there, but that's not what they manifest here. Like as if they were holding their sheathed weapon, like a cutlass type. So like sleeping like this, kind of like almost ready to like wait, like as if they had fallen asleep while on watch, but they no longer have the cutlass. What they have is like a bracer that has a closed crossbow on it. Um, but they don't realize that's what they have at the moment. And the music that's playing is even though there's not much historical findings for it, his Spanish sea shanties. Um, very like not necessarily the ones that like get your blood thrumming, but it's the kind that like it's supposed to keep you hopeful for like for the voyage, like to have this ending to like but also to keep knowing that there's adventure, but um very that kind of like steady kind of beat is playing somehow miraculously around them or maybe even the coach driver is humming such song. And they kind of wake up with a start and look around, look at all around, narrows their eyes at the person driving, looking familiar to them. They don't know why. It's one of those things like, have I slept with you before? Did it end well? Kind of like thinking, and they're like, ¿Dónde estoy? ¿Por qué estás aquí? ¿Por qué tienes? Lo soy. Ay, mierda. What's going on?
Hermosa.
Huh?
Cálmate. Calm yourself.
I'm calm. Where's my? And they look at the bracer.
Or are you trying to tell me you're calm?
Which would you prefer?
I feel like you're enjoying when I tell you which one you would prefer. So why don't we go with you're not calm just yet, but you will be.
Fine. At least I'm not in shackles this time.
Mhm. That is a predicament you seem to find yourself in, not always in the most enjoyable of circumstances.
No. But is this going to become an enjoyable circumstance? Then maybe I might get more calm.
Hmm. Potentially, but not with me. Regrettably, you are quite beautiful.
Hmm. They give a little nod, like they accept compliments at any time. Then why are we here? Have I been summoned or something?
Um, that's certainly a way you could look at it, but that's not quite the way that things have gone down.
Feel like, and they pat their body, like disappointed they don't feel like the hidden daggers they like usually would have, or like something else they should be carrying on them, but they don't
Where's
remember
my
exactly
shit?
what. Yeah.
Where's my stuff?
And then actually it's like, where is it? Why am I practically naked?
Mhm. Dear, if you were naked, I think the circumstances would be very different right now.
That's why I said practically.
Mm.
You should know a pirate is always, and they correct themselves, a corsair. I am a corsair now, is always fully prepared, and I don't feel prepared at all.
Well, death does happen to take the wind out of your sails on occasion.
They give you a look for that terrible pun and huff. Why am I not with the the Davy Jones then?
Because something about you doesn't want to go on yet.
Fair. I mean, I always expect this to happen at some point, but I would think I would remember it.
Those I'm being minorly distracted by Ida's comment in the chat because Ida is a gremlin of chaos. I will remember this, Ida. Um, those who I take with me are those who have to decide what they want to remember, if they want to remember, and if that will change whether they want to stay or not.
I know I have already in my life had forgotten what I wanted to forget and only remember what I want to remember. So the fact that I don't remember much is, I feel like it should not be this way.
And yet it is. And I'm sorry that that is the state you find yourself in.
And they lean forward, and since you already told them that there's no chance, they're going to take a different tactic. And it looks like they're just like, kind of adjusting, like sitting in this strange land boat. And probably it doesn't work at the moment, the crossbow that is connected to their arm, but they still point it out in your at your head. Maybe I can convince you otherwise.
You're welcome to try, sweetheart. By all means, many people have tried before you.
I just want more information. I can't go anywhere wherever you're taking me if it's not to a prison, if I am with at least some sort of protection. Then you want something or they want something. And I will not go in stupid.
That is one way of looking at it. Another way is you'll have to trust that someone, amidst the various spaces and times and ways in which a soul might wander, saw fit to pluck you from the abyss and bring you to something to decide for yourself, to give you the agency to decide.
And they lean back. So there's a chance.
Yes, there's always a chance. If you're speaking of moving on, there is always a chance. If you're speaking of seduction and wanting to be coy and sleep with me, regrettably, I cannot give you that option. I'm certain there are others who would be very interested in such options. But, regrettably, and I say this with the highest level of dismay, I cannot. That is not my role here.
I see. That is not your role now. But given time, whether to move on or to move elsewhere, it's very, I may not remember much. I do remember I've gotten to where I've been because I never quit.
Your determination may be unyielding, but I am, in spirit and in strength, impregnable, immovable, and not planning to give you what you want.
Oh, there's many things I want. This is just right now. But fine, if I can't do that to get more information for more understanding of who I was or where I'm going, then and they just like regard you like as a puzzle piece, but as a puzzle piece to work on later. And lean back. Can you not give me any information of where we're going?
Yes, you're going to a hotel. An inn, a tavern, whichever term you would find most appropriate for your purposes of processing. But you will be cared for. You will have bed space. Not mine, before you ask. And you will have room and time to explore, to wander, and to discover the things you have lost. Though whether or not you will want to find them again will be up to you.
And is there any expectations of me from them, whoever is the proprietor of said place?
Name. His name is Jean-Paul. And the only expectation is that you understand that while you are in the hotel, you are in a way always in danger. So this will be no different from your everyday life. But also, the choice is always yours to make. It is not his. It is not mine. It is not those for whom you will be given space to interact with and work alongside. No, I know you might not trust me, but I trust you understand that at times one must be a good girl and behave in order to get what you want.
Possiblemente. Yo, I can pretend for a little bit.
Perhaps you will lie enough that it will become truth. But we are here. And you arrive at the front of the area. You see everyone else who's already arrived. And you see seems to be bringing out, again, it's another thermos full of stuff. And this time, let me see what, I know I had a very specific one in mind. Where the hell is it? This is the problem when you get an entire bullet point list of a bunch of food things, is that when you fail to remember to separate them out carefully, hell, let's just go with that one. You see that there is a hearty beef broth that looks as though it has a strong peanut smell to it, and it looks as though even in this small thermos, there's like cut crispy kind of like fried potatoes on top of it and like thin strips, and just sort of like sips a bit of it directly from the thermos. And it smells really good, very tasty. And you see as about to put the thermos like top right back on, floating to the top of it, it looks like there's a bit of like beef that's still on the bone, like floating up to the top. That is it. I wish you well, Amina. And do please try and behave at least a little bit.
Only so I can get a lay of the land.
I
And
certainly get a lay of something.
and I think they, as they're like disembarking, they hand you their kerchief.
Sweetness of one of the sea. It is rare I have such gifts. Thank you, my sweet. Now, Jean-Paul will be with you soon. Try not to be too much of a bad girl if you can.
We'll see. And then they kind of like just walk off very, very pirate haughty like, nah, like I'm the baddest bitch here. You cannot prove otherwise.
All of you other bitches, you know nothing. None of you. None of you. And with that, crew has assembled. You've all arrived with different reactions to the truth of you being dead. There's probably a distinct sense of different times, different eras from which you come from. Perhaps apprehension, hesitation about whom you're currently been situated with, but you do see, as the last image before we are going to go to break, because I want to make sure we're still following this for time, you see an individual step out in it looks almost kind of like it's a suit, but it's more like a very nicely styled collared shirt, high up, kind of deep purple with little thin strips of gold for where the buttons would be across the front of it. Very nice, almost kind of like pleated slacks. And the individual seems to have as bald, deep, heavy, deep brown skin and a face of tremendous wit, calm, and seriousness, though not quite severe. For anyone who is a fan of Isaac from the Castlevania animated series, that is the best reference I can give you for him. Yes, I gave you hot people. You're welcome for your NPCs. This is going to be a campaign of this. And you see that this individual says, "It is a pleasure to make all of your acquaintances. My name is Jean-Paul, and welcome to Hotel Nexus. I'll be getting you set up with your accommodations. Please follow me." And as he says that, the doors to the hotel open. And that is where we're going to go to break, everybody. We'll be back in about 10 minutes. And we will see you then as we get into the second half of our premiere episode of Afterlife Nexus. See you soon, everybody.
Set the name of the game. Whoa.
Hello there, everybody. We've been given a prompt by our fantastic producer to behave like gremlins. So, carrying on, hello there, folks. Welcome to the second half of Afterlife Hotel Nexus, session 1 check-in. Our group has all given a nice little introduction to pretty much a little bit of who they are, personality, kind of approaches to life, and coming to the realization that they have all died, with various ways in responding to that bit of info. But now they've arrived at the hotel, and they have been greeted by one Jean-Paul, who, for media reference, is basically Isaac from Castlevania, the animated Castlevania. Enjoy, because man's wonderful, gorgeous. I'm giving my players nothing but hot people, because this is what I always do. Anyways, Jean-Paul, splendidly dressed, very professional manner, walks you into the hotel, and you see that while the hotel did already seem quite expansive on the exterior, the interior feels infinitely more vast. There's so many different hallways. They could go off into a bunch of different directions. You see that there is a banquet hall room in one spot. See, there is a concierge desk where there is a I will describe him as extremely tall, flaming red-haired, brown-skinned woman who is there standing attentively with a sign-in book, and just casually another person who works at the theater as well, theater concierge desk as well, just comes by, gives her a kiss on the cheek, and then continues to go by. And you see that Jean-Paul sort of hands behind back and says, "If you would please follow me, I would like to give you what tour of this place that I can before we get to official business. Let me be certain that I have all of you collected here. We have an Antonia.
Yeah, hi.
Pleasure. We have Captain Jimena. We have Miss Quest Nightingale.
Hi there.
We have the esteemed Ren.
Ren will just walk right up. Hello, it's very nice to meet you. My name is Ren. I look very forward to your establishment and to working together. I'm sure we can come to a minimal agreement. You let me know whatever it is you need. I will do my best to provide for you.
You don't need to stand on that much professional decorum, I promise you. And Ophir, do I have that name right?
Ophir has not made eye contact with anybody, has just, as soon as they sat on the stairs earlier, they felt around for art supplies that they usually have on them, and then were delivered them by staff, and have just been scribbling furiously ever since. So when they finally get up, they just have arms full of pens and paper, and he just gives a small nod.
You may feel free, should you require any other materials for your purposes, to ask the staff for any additional materials. Will be provided free of charge to you, among the many courtesies that we offer here at the hotel. And sort of waits for a second for a response from you, Ophir. If you give nothing, just sort of carries on, does not draw attention to it, and you'll notice very distinctly does not look you in the eyes, or even when addressing all of you, very professional demeanor, but seemingly avoids eye contact quite frequently. Is very particular about placing where he keeps his focus so that he doesn't have to look at anybody's eyes. I would like to show you a bit of our facilities and such.
Yes, a tour. A tour would be lovely.
Yes. This is our main concierge area, and show you a rather delightful feature of ours. We've never really come up with a proper name for it, so the staff have taken to calling it something of the accord of the Soul Fountain. And you look up to the ceiling, and you see that there is an installation where it looks as though there is a fountain that is cascading downwards, but the water is not going all the way down to the ground. It's seemingly going, some of it is going downwards, and then another portion of it is going back up in the other direction. So it's creating a contrasting effect where the water is hitting it at some spots partway through. But you also see that there are small wisps of light moving throughout the water.
It is aptly named, I see.
Yes. We've had many a previous guest leave their mark in this place. And to a certain
Willingly?
extent. Yes, for the most part. It is a matter of choice, but what comes of those choices is at times beyond our control. But this is one of our most consistent presence here in the hotel. It is a glimpse of what your own fates may be, should you become too accustomed to the hotel. But let's carry on. Shows to, again, moving through a bunch of various halls, which again have these very high ornate kind of like ceilings and such, and like swirl kind of installations coming down. Though whenever there's any sort of ornamentation that is present, anything again on the ground is of a serpent, and anything hung above the ground, there's always an eagle. And you see vivid oranges, vivid yellows, like even though outside it's become whatever passes for nighttime here, but there's a brightness and life to the whole of the decor here. And you see that there are various staff that are going by. You sense a variety of different smells that are coming out of what you assume must be a kitchen. There's scent of something akin to goat's milk, cinnamon, vanilla, and salt being mixed together to make a sweet caramel. There appears to be some sort of mutton or rabbit dish that you smell chili peppers, cumin, thyme, margarine, bay leaves, cloves, and garlic being all cooked in order to put it together. There's cassava root that looks as though someone is carrying a batch of it, and then distinctly off in the distance you hear frying noises as though the cassava root has been cut into nice, like, fry-sized portions and then being fried. So fried yuca is another way of putting it. There's a lot of different food here, but Jean-Paul carries on and leads you. These hallways over here are to your individual rooms. You are welcome to visit other guests should you gain permission to enter their rooms. We hold no ill will should you visit anyone else. To always be mindful that things happen. We will clean up messes. Should you be involved in any sort of hanky-panky, I believe is a more ridiculous way of putting it, so as to diffuse any sort of actual interest in the act itself. But be mindful who you
Does that include you?
Should you be interested in doing so, I do not think you could handle me. Carrying on. You will see here coming up that this is what is known as the Gallery of Limbo, and opens into a room where, think like art gallery. There are massive like portraits and installations here, and every single one of these installations, these paintings, are alive. They're moving.
Ophir
You-
definitely hesitates upon saying this, and it takes him a minute to actually step in, but does so.
I promise you, my dear, no counterfeits have made their way into this place. These are very much not the kind of art you may be used to. I would be mindful of that one. I think leans over to Ren, who may have gotten slightly close to one of them, and you see that there is almost like a hand of inky black darkness begins trying to reach out of one of the paintings to land onto your shoulder. These
Off.
these are places for you to visit, should you be interested or feel called to them. All of our guests have moments in which they sense something or another may be of value to find in each of these places. You are welcome in your own free time as a group to come and investigate, look through.
The paintings, the people, things inside the paintings. Do you still call those guests?
Perhaps at one point for someone they were.
More like curses, I say. And they do the sign of the cross as they were once taught a long time ago. They don't realize they do it, though, of course.
The hand mimics the exact same gesture.
I think
You're not required to come in here, right?
No, but you will feel drawn to this place, whether it is an enjoyable feeling or not. It is the nature of your stay here that whatever memories you wish to recover, they will be found here. It is in limbo, in the point of Nexus, that we often find ourselves at an impasse until we reach within and find the things we wish to discover. Though not all of them may be pleasant. There are many a place here that can be explored across time and space. They are yours to explore as you see fit, whenever any of them call to you. I will say, for at least some of you, there is an image of a lighthouse in one of them that probably speaks to some of you. There's an image of a frosty mountain peak. There is a full festival celebration that is happening. There is another art gallery display happening in another one of them, though curiously you hear the sound of running water coming out of the one with the art installation. In due time, more paintings appear of their own accord while guests stay here. It is part of the process of them discovering who they are.
I think Ophir starts to just kind of back out of the room, and we'll just wait outside till they're done.
Should any of you have any questions, you may feel free to ask me at any given point, though I cannot promise you a satisfying answer.
Is it only ever things that we've already seen?
They are simply opportunity and possibility. Not always just of your own memories, but of those of others who have stayed here, places that were, places that are, and some places that have yet to be. And in many ways, all of them could be visited, or only some of them. What you find is what you choose to find. what you make the effort to find.
So the answers might not be satisfying, but it's a very satisfying answer.
Well, thank you. I do try on occasion to be helpful, even if it's, in a way, not part of my job description. If you have no questions of me, I believe I can take you onwards to other places as well.
I do.
Yes.
What do you want from us for this?
Nothing. I want nothing from any of you. As I believe Alb, or Alba, or Albert, as some of you may know them, has already explained to all of you, your stay here is what it is. The accommodations that we offer are free of charge. They are the gift we offer to those who wish to try and remember. But the gift that we offer in giving you a chance to try and discover comes with a price of its own that unfortunately even we cannot stop. And it is that all the things that you enjoy will soon lose their feeling and lose their meaning, unless you discover what of who you were you wish to carry on, and if you wish to carry on at all.
You're saying that the things we have found comfort, joy, that we use to bring other people joy, they will vanish.
Well, mostly in the department of food and drink. They are the first things to go. We can provide you with such things, but there is a manner of needing to discover them in other worlds that will prove much more satisfying. For after more than a day here, the food will not suffice to satisfy your hunger.
And if we, gesture to everyone else, try to supplement or augment by creating joy here, if we can give back to your establishment, we can assist in some way, we can be of service in some way, that has to count for something too.
Are you looking for a way to wriggle out of your responsibility, Ren?
No, of course not. Of course not. But there are always things that can be counted in one's favor. One can still be selfless and provide good things. They are things that are needed. They are things that should be gladly accepted. They are things that are given freely of heart.
Yes. We give you accommodations. We give you the food to sustain you. At least the pieces of you that still remember what the taste of food is, what the taste of drink is. But as I said before, the longer you are in between, that will mean almost nothing. To satisfy your hunger will mean to go elsewhere. To satisfy finding who you were and whether or not you will continue to be will be entirely your choice. Whatever joy you provide here is, to an extent, inconsequential. But that is not the point of your being here. The point is to search.
How does any of this benefit you?
It does not.
You can tell that Ophir does not believe him.
It's like a grail quest, almost. You get what you put into it.
Correct.
It's hard to get what we put into it if we weren't given what we had before.
I'll have a means of giving you a tool to remember, to help you remember. You can gladly go to my office already if that will be met with more approval. I do like sharing the hotel with people. It is one of the more perfunctory tasks that I get enjoyment from.
Then we shall move on so we could see the rest of this hotel that we'll be stuck in for however long it may be.
You are as strong-spirited as your file would lead you to believe. Carries forward and leads you forward again, always taking forward position. Leads you into the banquet hall, in which you see there is long tables here. There are spreads of food and various kinds of drink here. And you see that there are a variety of different people in different outfits and such. You see that there is actually, I have a pen to do this much easier for me. Also oral stim, because stim. You see a man has sat down, older looking fellow, kind of like very finely maintained facial hair, older man. It's like in the middle of getting a cigar, just lying in, just and just sort of sitting at the head, and just has a collection of people who are like seemingly very entranced by him nearby. You see wearing extremely high collared shirt, but also kind of a cloak, the most gorgeous, pristine sort of man you have ever seen, with like silvery yellow whitish kind of hair, and for some reason seems to have a very long blade that's just hanging, floating nearby him. It looks like a sword that just floats around him, and seemingly just sitting there. And it looks as though there's a few other people with him. There's a very beautiful woman wearing a purple dress, and then another one who looks a little bit disagreeable and a bit invested in his cups, but she seemingly is looking over to him and the very beautiful silver-haired man with a certain level of fondness. But you definitely see that there's a variety of different guests, for lack of a better term here, as there will be all manner of treats, enjoyment here for you to partake in whenever you would like. The staff regularly changes out food. Should you require something more from home, I would be happy to look into talking with our chefs about this.
Question.
Yes.
Is it appropriate to ask how long other guests have been here?
Yes, you are more than welcome to do so. Whether or not they will give you, as I said before, a satisfying answer is not entirely determined by me.
That's Damocles, isn't it?
That is one way of putting it. There's been
At least
a
it
variety.
was at one point.
In one sense, yes. There are many people from various times here, and you also see in the corner there is a very, and they also mentioned there are various other beings who are here as well. And you see in the corner there is a very well maintained, especially for his size, as it is a rather tall boy of a minotaur here, just in like a toga, sitting down, rather daintily eating certain food, and like eating it, but you see him look with a sense of sadness down at the plate, like looking around, almost like he's looking for somebody to be there with him, but no one else. It looks as though who he's looking for isn't there.
Ophir is immediately just pulling out another sheet of paper and just like,
there's a goddamn minotaur in here.
Jimena like raises an eyebrow, like seeing such a fantastical creature, and then is this like debating, do I want to challenge them or do I want to proposition them? Because both would be amenable.
both?
And it's something they make a note and to like look for them later once the business is done.
There is, you see, again, dinner will be available shortly, but I suppose you must get on to business and such. Follow me, please. It's a very nondescript like office, and there's a variety of different chairs for you all to sit down in. Now, we should go through this one at a time. I will try not to belabor the point. Just make it clear the situation here for all of you. Seemingly there's a file cabinet that just appears out of nowhere and just opens it up, like does a little slide lock on it, opens it up, pulls out a file. Quest Nightingale. Let's see. Here we go. See, pulls out a package for you. And the moment that he passes over the package, it lights up. And DK, I would like you to describe what your approach is for your character. This is a particular mechanical aspect of Wandering Souls, that each player has a specific kind of approach for how their character might think about certain situations and how to solve them. And I thought this would be a nice way for you to each sort of formally get access to them and show like what each of your character's reaction would be. So DK, what is your approach and what does it manifest as for Quest?
My approach is a shield, and I imagine that as Quest reaches for the glowing box and undoes the binding and opens it, excuse me, it looks smaller at first than it actually is. It takes a minute to kind of wedge it out of the box and unfurl it. Rather than a shield, it is a giant hiking backpack. It's got all kinds of pockets and secret compartments, and it's waterproof. It's obviously not full yet, but it looks like it can hold a sizable amount of whatever Quest might need, and there is really nothing that she finds more valuable.
A pragmatist through and through. Carrying on, moves through the files. Here we are. Ren. Here you go. Ida, if you would describe your approach and what it manifests as for Ren.
Ren's approach might be interpreted, or might originally have been a bow, a long metallic curved arc with a string. But I think for in Ren's case, the string isn't attached to the end of the bow. It's hanging loose, like almost an ornamental string or thicker coil, alongside this, what would be the curved bow, the curved arm of the bow, but instead it's almost staff-like. So it's a bow where the string isn't connected to both arms; it's kind of hanging loose. Almost looks more like almost looks like a long scepter with some long coil on it instead. But it is mechanically a bow.
Love it. That's a cool ass description for it. And
it is. If you're familiar, it's likened to the chicote that the Morenos use.
Got it.
Which for our non-Andean audience, in a particular folkloric dance in the Andes, some dancers carry a long staff, and there is usually some ornamental head or other decorations on it, but a lot of it mostly entrails long ribbons or even long coils. So this is kind of the reflavored bow.
Gotta love it. Fantastic. I imagine it has quite a lot of relevance to your past work, whatever that might have been. Carrying on, Antonia passes over the package. Gina, if you could tell what your approach is and what it manifests as for Antonia.
Antonia's approach is actually a sword, but when she takes it out, it's only about 7 inches long, and it is a very it is a wooden spike. It's shaped like a cone. It tapers to a point polished. It is a sailing fid, similar to a marlin spike, but it is for different purposes. But yeah, it's very simple, just polished wood, polished dark wood, cone shaped, used for working with wood. She's very she recognizes this.
You are esteemed and audacious Jimena. Here you go. Passes over the package.
And inside, I think, are very ornate arrows, like bolt arrows, since Jimena came in wearing the crossbow. And it's one of those kinds, like kind of like in Assassin's Creed, except you don't lose a finger for it. Just on top, that can, with like a click of a button, the arms of the crossbow will pop out, and then she can just quickly load it. And I think the arrows themselves are they're made of barnacled wood. So they're not like normal type of wood arrows. They're not steel point or anything like that, but like barnacled wood. And she knows how to use it, but that wasn't in her. She knows, like, in her life, that wasn't her weapon of choice. So she's kind of confused why now this is, but it's almost instinct that she knows how to load the arrows onto her wrist on the bottom.
I'm just imagining, for whatever reason, a variant of the first Suicide Squad movies when they give Deadshot his guns back and he just like very instinctually just reloads, gets several headshots quickly. It's one of those where it's just like it's by pure reflex. There is no real conscious effort happening. You're just able to like put it in place and all set. And it feels very weird, I'd imagine, for Jimena to be like, where the hell is my sword? Did I use a sword? I don't know what I used, but I know it wasn't this. And Ophir, for you. Mirage, what is your approach and what does it manifest as for Ophir?
Ophir takes out what starts as a small sword, but quickly shrinks to a sword on an earring dangling by a thread, which I think is very funny considering who we just passed. And it's a very pretty earring, in fact, with a gem on it. Looks decently expensive. And for just a moment, he stares down at it and touches it softly. And he feels this horrible pit in his stomach, but also this tug in his heart. And there's a faint flush on his cheeks as he just puts it on his ear.
Well, you each have your approach, your manner of engaging and attempting to find memory back. The items are always relatively with the same themes, but for each of you have always become what you need them to be. The part of you that still remembers inside, whether you can consciously reach it or not, wishes to have and wishes to remember in some way, shape, or form. I've given you, as of now, all that I can for the more helpful things, so now I must take care of the more logistical end. And this is a question I will ask as a GM. As far as rooms, are folks sharing or are folks getting each of their own rooms?
I will say that I don't think Ophir will feel comfortable in a room by himself. He'll take one, but if somebody else has that same feeling of, I don't want to be alone, then I imagine they might be paired up, but otherwise he'll take a room by himself.
Okay.
I think it would be interesting if there were assignments. Jimena would technically prefer a room on their own, but at the same time, like, it wouldn't bother them if they were assigned somebody. They're like, oh, okay.
I think similarly, Ren wouldn't mind their own room, but if they had to share a room, they would rather do it with someone who has the energy to be chatty.
Which internal monologue, not canon whatsoever, but internal monologue I'm imagining for Jean-Paul is, now which one of you can actually deal with Ren's energy? Which one of you can last long enough?
Either
That is not a euphemism.
Not you.
I think what Ren would dislike the most would be having a roommate who is uncomfortable with them, or who they can't bounce off.
Fear's just like, I'm gonna slide myself out of this picture. It's all gonna be good. But you can feel free to decide. We can have the official talk post game and or like in the Discord and such for in our channel for what we're gonna decide. But you each are given your rooms, and you each also are given another package that you find is bottomless. And that anytime you reach your hands in, there is a new set of clothing styled to your particular preferences that will consistently change however you want them to be. This provides no mechanical benefit. This is simply for the fact you don't have to be in the perpetual, this is a movie where while many days are passing, you're all wearing the same outfit again. So if you want to look nice in a different outfit, you can change it.
For vibes.
The vibes.
I think, yeah, after that, we'll look at Jean-Paul. You didn't mention anything we're not allowed to do.
There
has to be rules to, or are you meaning to catch us and punish us?
Respectfully, Captain. Punishment is not something I entertain myself with to the same sort of, I believe the term is vicious degree that you do, and the sort of single-mindedness that you approach your perhaps social interactions. I do not wish to inspire confidence by force or seduction. I do not require such things. You're welcome to try, but I will let you know ahead of time it will not avail you to me.
Well, for once, you're the one that has the naughty mind than me. Well, will admit, and looking at everybody else, that I do enjoy a certain amount of punishment, but I meant in this hotel. Are there things we are not allowed to do? Explore certain rooms or touch certain things or people or non-people that would get us closer to the well?
I would suggest that you do not go to the basement. We have had some recent difficulties with guests wandering off and not reappearing, sometimes for a rather long time, and sometimes never again when I go to the basement. So that is my one suggestion, less as a rule of the house, so to speak, and more a matter of if you wish to continue existing for however long that will be. But my task here is to oversee the hotel's continuation and to make clear to you the stakes for which your continued stay, what the stakes are for your continued stay. Namely that however much you will wish to stay here, for some of you, perhaps all of eternity, it is an impulse you must be careful to always ignore. Oblivion is not simply found in death. Oblivion is found in hopelessness and an unwillingness to see what could be beyond this place. And I do not wish...
tip their hat to you.
I do not wish destruction on any of you. Is flustered by the interruption to him saying, I feel like that fits character-wise. It's like you're saying something, it's like he hadn't even finished, and he's just like, bless you for that. I'm like, I'm not done doing my spiel here. I got stuff I gotta deliver. I gotta copy, paste.
Jimena loves to do that. Disrupt everybody.
I love that. Disrupt or disrobe? I didn't hear that correctly, but both are accurate in this
Yes.
context.
So you have made clear your expectations or your responsibilities here, but that very kind driver had explained that we might also be judged. Whose task is that? To whom can we make appeals? To whom do we plead our case?
To no one but yourselves.
So then why must we be here if we can simply judge ourselves to be ready to move on?
How can we judge ourselves if we don't remember ourselves?
Why don't I offer you the one other gift that I can give you before we carry on, to explain why it will ultimately be yourselves judging, and why I can offer this place, but it is a double-edged sword. Waves his hand. I would like each of you in turn. This will be a non-painful break for every single one of you. It is a sensory detail. It is a fragment of something from your past. But essentially, in this system for Afterlife Wandering Souls, there is a currency called resonance that is used to essentially build up to having a moment of recovering a memory, of finding an aspect of yourself that was lost in forgetfulness, in the transition from death to being stuck here. What is the detail that each of you in turn remembers? As it is very visceral, but I'll make clear it is not painful. It is just one of those things where it's like a light bulb memory. It just flashes. And so I'm gonna go each in turn. Ophir, what is something you remember?
I think probably the warmth and comfort and security of being in bed with somebody I love.
You feel the warmth of someone much bigger than you, holding you. And it's the kind of touch you associate with someone like putting their forehead to yours and this giving like a forehead kiss. And then it fades. Quest, what do you remember?
I remember thin air, the thinnest air I've ever breathed, and not realizing what a precious resource it is until this moment.
You feel it a little bit hard to breathe. It's not choking. It's not an inability to breathe. It's hard. And it hits you just sharp, right down to the chest. And then it stops. And you are back to just where you were a moment ago. Antonia.
I think it's being in the middle of a party, something that's it's not a party for her, it's a party that she's attending on. She's not sure at this point, but she remembers the feeling of being in a room with so many people, and it's lively and there's joy, and attention's not necessarily on her, but she's just like taking in just the feeling of being around other people, and she's just being with other people.
There's a feeling of just seeing, you don't have clear details of faces, but you see smiles. You see people who are excited to be around you, who you feel a sense of being social that feels so foreign to how you are now, to this moment of just having struggled to talk in the ride over. But then the smiles disappear and the memory fades. Ren, what do you remember?
I think Ren has flashes of not visual memories, but feelings of responsibility, the sense that they were relied upon, called upon, feelings of stress and anxiety, but then feelings of pleasure and satisfaction that yes, Ren rose to the occasion and gave them what they needed, led them. Immediately followed by this sinking feeling about who it was they led, and perhaps being uncomfortable with the actions of those they led.
You hear music, you feel your body moving, like a memory of just the sensation of dance, of movement. But also knowing that just the faintest bit of someone being like, you can't make out the full statement, but you swear you hear in a voice you don't recognize something akin to the statement, "Why don't you come home?" And then it's gone. Jimena, what do you remember?
I think up to this point, Jimena has been selfish. Everything that they've been saying, their intent of everything has been selfish, of like, I'm going to figure this out and everything. And then they're just hit with a wave of nausea. And the nausea is that feeling you get when you realize you've forgotten to do something important, like the equivalent of picking up your child at school, or like remember to feeding your cat, like that, like someone is dependent on you, something, and that they've lost it, and they shouldn't have lost it because it had given them feelings of like this was worth it all along, and it was of immense importance, not for that sort of for them, but for everyone, and that it's gone. And they almost like buckle over in that overwhelming like sense that it where did it go? We need it. Everybody needs it. Where did it go? What did I do with it? How did I fail so spectacularly in the one thing I promised to do?
There is a moment for all of you as the memories begin to fade out, where you look over at Jean Paul, and in some senses you see from one angle, it almost, for a second, you see what looks almost like a skeletal face where his beautiful skin and features were. In another moment, it looks like there's almost angelic wings, but they're condor wings. Another moment, you see entirely bathed in hellfire. Another moment, you see bright light, almost like that of a divinity. In another moment, you see the purest of darkness, the comfort of a night that has long been sought after when the day has brought nothing but misery. As I said before, it will ultimately be you who judges yourself. This place is merely on offer to you to determine what you wish to find again. You may leave, you may wander. Do what you like. All that I offer you here is the possibility to remember. What you remember may not be something you want to live with. And so you may sink into delusion, into despair. But always, no matter what, the choice is yours.
I think after all of that, Ophir has just kind of been clutching at his shirt and staring down at the ground, but has slowly lifted their eyes up to slowly glance around at everybody. And his eyes have actually been hovering over Humana. And for some reason, there's something in her from what he's seen that he finds comfort in. So he just sort of, almost like a dog who knows that it needs to follow its owner, just sort of steps over to her side and a step behind her. Just that's his spot. He doesn't say anything.
I think for a moment, all the confidence, and even when Jimena had that moment of feeling, there's a softness in their expression when they see Ophir approach them, and they don't understand why they are just accepting of this stranger, like doing what they're, but it feels almost not in the sense of like a memory, but it just feels like familiar in a sense.
I do think that Quest looks down at her room key and looks at Ren and Antonia and has this weird feeling, not that she minds being alone, but that she's not used to it. This sense of someone always being in or out of her space, whether it's one particular person or a mass of people, that feeling of community. And I think she kind of turns the key over in her hand for a minute and then says, well, I don't want to pressure anybody or anything. I imagine this is weird enough for all of us, but it looks like my room's pretty big. So, I guess if anyone's unhappy with their room or doesn't want to spend too much time there, my door will be open.
I might consider that, Ren speaks up. Maybe your room has good hardwood floors, good soundproof walls.
I hope so.
Yes, I might come and make use of those things, if you do not mind with that.
Not at all.
Ophir kind of just looks up at Humana with he again doesn't say anything, just kind of like is this okay? Look.
Mm-hmm. And I think without even looking at their key, just simply says, looks like we're rooming together.
He smiles a little bit.
Antonia, do you have anything else to add? Or you just vibing, you just sitting back and it's like, I got a vibe here. You're also muted, dear.
No, I'm just vibing.
Okay, just checking.
Forgot I was muted.
Oh, good. Also, hello there, Raiders. It's good to have you here with us. Our group has just had their first experience of breaks, of almost forcibly recovering memories of their past selves that they have forgotten in the transition to this limbo space in between death and moving on. So, oh, fantastic. I see you had a Star Trek thing. Thank you. Thank you for giving us some love over here. We appreciate all the support. As a last thing, John Paul says, the space gives you one, the hotel also will give you all one last thing. The offer is available if you do not wish for this to be inscribed upon your skin, to offer it upon quilts that you may cultivate of your own accord. And you watch as you see marks appear across his own body at different spots. So you get the sense it's probably beneath the outfit, but it's on his flesh, of different symbols. These will allow you to move through spaces with a sense of power, to change and make use of the hotel and everything that is about being in between. As you remember more, the space will shape to give you more strength. I wish you all well, and welcome once again to Hotel Nexus. And that is where we are going to close session 1, everybody, for today. Oh boy, this is, yeah, oh boy, everybody. We're gonna real quick do our outros to not belabor it, because we're right on the cusp of our end time. We started like about a couple minutes over. So my name is Angel Lemos Morgavejo. I use she, her pronouns. I will be running here for the next roughly 2 months this fantastic game with an already very clearly demonstrably awesome group of players that I am so blessed to have gotten to, that I'm going to be so blessed to work with. And I'm also the director for Girls Write These Worlds, where we are going to have soon a zine for Pride Month coming out June 15th. I'm so excited. We have amazing artists who've come on board. We have writers, including someone in our current cast who's written the sweetest bean ever. I love him. I'll protect that one to the end of time, but I will also protect my cast from unnecessary bullshit, but I will put them through the duress of having to react on the spot. DK, you're next.
Hi, hello, that's me. I'm DK, or at Abadarlings on Twitter. Somehow I knew it was going to be me. I've been Quest Nightingale, and when I'm not Quest Nightingale, I'm other people over on Exquisite Corpse Presents. And I'm just pleased as punch to be here.
Pleased as punch is one of the most delightful expressions I've ever heard anyone say, and also an embodiment of pure joy and happiness. Gina.
Hi, I'm Gina. That is she, her. I have been playing Antonia today. When I am not on this channel, first time here on this channel, actually. I am at Sword and Key currently, playing in an Invisible Sun campaign. We are in the middle of the campaign, but everything's up on YouTube. That will be Thursdays, not this upcoming Thursday, the one after that, if I recall right. I'm bad with time, so yeah, that's where you can find me.
Fantastic. I had to do this gesture, which for those of you who cannot see given my camera position, is the praise the sun gesture from Dark Souls, because one was praise the radiance and sun that is many individuals, like the fantastic badass boss bitch energy that is our own Jimena. Diana, go.
Hello, I'm Diana Moon. I use she, her pronouns. You can find me on Twitter at Diana Moon, or on Twitch and YouTube at xDianaMoonX. I'm also part of the Reclaimers cast, which we're currently moving from one Twitch channel to another. So next time I'll have that information, but we're an all POC cast that does different RPGs. I was Jimena today, Captain Jimena, she, they, Corsair, and yes, is going to attempt to still be the bad bitch even in the underworld.
The badass bitches, the amazing, the wonderful, and the always personable presences, Diana. I am so happy to have you on the cast. You have no idea. Your presence brings me so much joy. You know what else brings me so much joy? Our own Aida, who's our fantastic producer.
Hi everyone, thanks for having me. I had a lot of fun. You can follow me at Twitter at InThePan. Catch me on Friday at Gen Con TV for their roundtable called Table Takes, as I will be talking about a UK EU community group called Roll for Good that's hosting a charity event this coming weekend. Which Saturday and Sunday, follow us at Roll for Good. We're going to have 6 games over 2 days, different systems, diverse tables, representative tables, mostly from players outside North America. And we're raising funds for LGBTQA plus rights, namely ILGA World, which fights to bring equity to everyone, regardless of their sexual orientation, gender expression, and who they are and who they love. We're going to have giveaways, physical and digital, shipping included, a year pro of Hero Forge, a physical bundle of Morgborg and Cyberborg, etc., etc. Be there.
Wonderful. And last but not least, my joy, my heart, my wonderful Mirage.
Woo woo. Hi, I'm Alta Mirage. Alta Mirage. You can find me anywhere as Alta Mirage. Whoa. I was playing the sad boy Ophir today. Sad demi boy, I guess. I love him. I love sad boys. It's my favorite flavor. Anyways, you can commission me to draw your characters and stuff. You can look at my art on Twitter at Ultramirage Art. Otherwise, literally everywhere else, just Ultramirage. So,
Fantastic. Can confirm, Mirage does God tier artwork. I was able to. They did some artwork for our zine for a playbook I actually wrote for Monster Hearts, and I looked at it, and I nearly started crying immediately when just the first sketch came in, and then the coloring came in, and then I almost cried again, and then every time I went back, I jumped for joy in my chair, and I nearly became somehow more gay, which, for those of you who know me, is impressive. But the other thing that's impressive is that we have had a first session here, and we are going to send some love over to Starlight Tales, who are playing the premiere episode of Whispering Heart D&D campaign. Fantastic. Go give them some love. Go give them all the praise, and we will see you next week for another session as we wander the limbo space of Nexus, and our whole crew of travelers and wanderers makes their way exploring this very strange space. So, see you on over on Starlight Tales, everybody, and take care.